Very good afternoon to you, our viewers. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Punch Sports Extra. My name is Shegun Odwan. I have my co-presenter here in Eniton Daramola. And together we'll be having 29 minutes show here, dishing out the very best of sporting analysis that have happened in the last couple of days to you, our viewers. Eniton, good afternoon to you.
A very wonderful afternoon to you, Shegun. Yeah, we've been having, some interesting discussions here. Yeah, so I can't wait for us to get started. But,
all right.
A very wonderful afternoon to you and then to our viewers. It's good to have you here.
Let's start like we always do with the front page of Punch Sports Extra, the print version. And the girls, yes, our girls have their pictures out there on the front page this morning. Group stages. We are done with the group stages of Women African Cup of Nations. We played 3 games. Interestingly, we scored quite a couple of goals. 3 goals in the first game, 1 in the second game, no goal in the last game. But the sweet thing is that we are not just stopping our group, or we didn't just stop our group. We ended the group stage without conceding a single goal. Ourselves and Algeria are the only teams to have done the group stages without getting a goal past them. Congratulations to Chiamaka and Chejine, the goalkeeper coach of the Super Falcons. Anytime, the girls, we're here talking about the girls last week, I guess.
Yes,
And 3 games they've gone now without conceding a goal, even though many persons are not so happy with the Super Falcons, complaining that some players are played out of position, complaining that perhaps there's not enough tactical prowess in the team. But somehow, we have gone past the group stages.
As should be, you understand, is expected that the Super Falcons should go past, the group stages. You understand quite well that, there's some sort of pressure, or there's some sort of pressure, you understand, on the team because they want to win the 10th, trophy.
Mission X.
Yes, Mission X. La Decima, as it's called, you understand. But, it's a good one. Yeah, you would not always have everyone on your side. It's his first time with the girls, quite all right. Yeah. And, you will not always have everyone on your side. But the end will justify, the means, because they need to get that trophy. They have to get the trophy because they have what it takes to get the trophy. You look like at the long list of players that are in the team, in the squad, the likes of Asisat, Oshoala, Ajibade and the likes, they can and they should. However, what I'm concerned about is the fact that, they went from, 3 goals, 1 goal, and then no goal. Quite all right, they didn't concede. However, we need them to keep or to return, get back that scoring form when we face the next opposition in the quarterfinal, because it's going to be a tough one.
Very tough one against Zambia.
Yeah, against Zambia.
All right, we'll be coming back to the Super Falcons later. Still moving on the front page. I rejected a move to the English Premier League. Victor, yes. Not Osimhen, but Boniface. Interesting one there. I mean, Boniface, we all thought he was going to leave Bayer Leverkusen when Saudi came for him. Somehow, that deal crashed like a pack of cards. He stayed with Jabi, lost his starting shirt, but he was coming on. And then somehow, he still stayed. Jabi left. Now, the former manager is there now. And, it's just a new turn for him.
Yes, you never know how life goes. And you never know how, events turn around. You could have a little misunderstanding here today and you feel, oh, I need to leave because I have, the coach has not been playing me. He doesn't trust me any longer. I think this issue, backdates to when he had, a lengthy injury. You understand?
Yeah.
But fairest to him is, he stayed at the club, despite the fact that, he didn't get much playing time as expected. However, look at how events have turned out. Xabi Alonso has left the club. They almost shipped Boniface to Saudi. And it could have, just...
That'll have been the end.
Could have been the end. Look at John Duran now. He's looking,
he's back
to
in
start
Turkey.
afresh. You understand? And he's back in Turkey.
Hopefully that goes due for him.
Exactly. And hopefully it goes well for him. And the same might not be for players like, Boniface. You understand? The same might not just be for him. However, we need to give credit to his team. They handled that very well. No scandal, no this, no that, no social. And the fact that, he didn't go to social media to say all sorts.
He just got
despite the fact that he's, in quotes, an influencer.
The social media geek guy.
Yes, you get. I really, that's big ones for him. And now we are hoping to see him bring back that fire. Because the former Manchester United coach, regardless of the fact that my former manager.
Oh, sorry.
or my club's former manager. But it would have been an absolute privilege, to work on that if I were to be a professional footballer. You look at what he did with Sebastian Haller, and would be hoping that he would replicate the same with Victor Boniface, because he has what it takes to be that top guy, to score you the top goal. Remember when they signed him, at first, and he won the rookie, is he rookie of the week?
Yeah, rookie 2 years ago.
Yeah, and he kept on scoring important goals at that. So, we expect to see him firing again, rediscover, his form, and then, keep running. And hopefully, he comes to score for the Super Eagles. We really can't wait. We really can't wait.
One day now, one day. All right, moving very quickly, still on the front page this morning. Rodrigo reports that Real Madrid's Rodrigo may just be on his way to Arsenal. But guess what? Chelsea are about hijacking that move and are going to be meeting with his agents. Rodrigo reports that he's unhappy with what Xabi Alonso is doing to him at Real Madrid. He has lost his starting place. He didn't even play in the last game for Real Madrid at the Club World Cup in the semi-finals. He wasn't even, given the opportunity to play 10 minutes. And my guy is probably thinking, hey, now so I go to stay bench for a year. Why don't I go to a place where I'm going to be playing? And reports have it that Chelsea may just hijack him from under the noses of Arsenal.
Oh, well, I really don't understand Chelsea. I don't understand.
They are just buying everybody.
But whatever they are
Arsenal
doing
is not buying everybody.
Hold on. Whatever they are doing is working for them.
Okay.
Why do you think I said that? Now look at the deals Chelsea have signed. The players they have signed. They have players who are on maybe 7-year contracts, 8-year contracts. I don't know if they've gotten to 9. But the funny thing, it's a business strategy. Because if the club is coming for players, that they are on that, long contracts, you can't buy them for cheap. You understand? So they have that leverage. You understand? They just tell you, oh, we are, this guy has a contract on like maybe a 5-year contract or a 5-year contract, a 7-year contract. You can't buy him for, and they are in their prime. They are young. You understand? The age is on their side too. So they have a business strategy that seems to be working for them. Because last I heard about a certain Nicholas Jackson who is likely on his way out of Chelsea.
Let's launch into that one very quickly.
Right,
Because that Manchester United about picking him up.
I'd say God, because I was expecting it. Because the moment Fabrizio Romano posted that there's a possibility for Jackson to leave, Chelsea, I knew that
it was United.
No.
Okay.
It was not United. We've discussed this a number of times on this show that sometimes, agents bring up rumors, clubs bring up rumors, and then,
so just keep in the business.
And then the influencers to do their thing because they knew or they know that this is probably going to, sell a narrative. And then Man U fans are going to come crashing on their timeline and say, never, oh, this, that. And then, Chelsea fans will start begging. These things, they come up, especially during transfer period, and you need to sift whatever it is that information you are getting. However, there could be truth in that, because Manchester United are probably desperate right now. The list of strikers that Manchester United are being linked to, you have them from Jamie Vardy. Don't laugh. I'm being serious. You have them from Jamie Vardy to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and then some other players that you feel should not, really be the players that Manchester United are looking out for as a top 9, as a top, not squad players. And then the former, what's his name now, Callum Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they are on the long list. You understand? And then you have a certain Nicholas Jackson, who, if we are actually being critical about his play, hold on. If I am actually being critical about Jackson, we need to look at the stats. Yeah, we know that it's obvious that he misses chances, but I think he was on double figure last season. Yeah. And then the fact that he's young, he has Premier League experience. Who knows, if he comes to maybe a club like Arsenal or Manchester United, he may click. He's not all that, but the fact that our own brother Mikel Obi has been on his neck all this while, has not helped him. But things like that makes you a better person.
And then it's down the pecking order in Chelsea.
Exactly. And now, if he ends up in Manchester United, it's going to be a really big and serious competition for, what's his name now? Rasmus Højlund. And Zexi has kind of shaped his own path because he has said he's not a 9. And, he has found a way into the team that it becomes maybe like a center, a link between the midfield.
Just an 8.
You understand. So, I think it's probably, free. However, it will be a big competition for Rasmus Højlund. A good competition at that. So it won't be bad.
Talking about the most popular guy on our front page in a while, and I mean, it's not because we love him more. I mean, we love him more than anybody else. He's perhaps the most talked about Nigerian player on the transfer market, not just this at this moment, but that has been dragging on for going to 2 years now. Victor Osimhen has said, you know what, I want to play for Galatasaray. I want to come to Galatasaray. And then he has told Napoli, I'm not coming back to you guys. You guys have to go and deal with Gala. But somehow that has been controversial, from the 65 million euros deal that was rejected, to 70 million bid that was rejected, to now 75 million deal where they're trying to work things out to make it work. As of now, the deal is not done yet, but talkings are going on, and it looks like it's going to be staying with Gala. But why must an Osimhen deal always be controversial? Why must he always drag long? Why must he always, why should, this is second year running we are doing this, but it looks like, hey, Gala, he wants to stay.
Well, from the look of things, it looks like he actually wants to stay or wants to return to Gala, because last time we checked, it was in Nigeria, going here and going there. Pretty lovely moments,
chilling.
Yeah, chilling, which is nice. However, is Gala the right move? Yes, we understand the fact that, he had a brilliant loan spell in Gala. It's going to be different. It's going to be a different ball game, when you sign permanently for Gala. So the question is Gala the right move for Victor Osimhen? Personally, I don't think that, Gala should be the next move for him at this time. I feel that, whatever it takes, clubs that are interested, they should find a way to work it out with, Victor Osimhen, his agent. I know it's money issues, especially when it comes to the Premier League. But personally, I feel that the Premier League is the next destination for him, for Victor Osimhen. Exactly.
But that looks like it's gone. That ship has sailed.
It looks, maybe let's say 90% is gone. It looks off. However, there's something that Napoli wants that we do not understand. Is the fact that Gala have gone, I think it's 3 or 4 times now. With
this is the third bid.
This is the third bid.
And they have matched the 75 million euros.
Exactly. So what is it exactly that Napoli wants? Now, rumor has it that there is a possibility that somebody is bankrolling Galatasaray's bid for Osimhen from Italy. Yes. And, he's been wanted by, what's her name now? Juve. You understand? So there's just this rumor that after one season, Osimhen is likely going to go back to Italy. You understand? And, it's just rumors, no evidence, you understand. But then, why are Napoli stalling? Or is there a bid coming from Al Hilal or from Saudi again? But
I think there's a bid from Al Hilal that Osimhen doesn't want, but Napoli is probably looking at the money.
Or could it be that there is a Premier League club who is waiting, till the end?
I don't think any Premier League wants to pay that money.
Everybody
has said it. David Austin has said it.
Yes.
No clubs are
but there's a certain
Premier
League club who is in dire need of a striker, and who, at the end of the day, can't get their hands on maybe their top targets, and would maybe just return. Exactly. No, it's probably an option, not their top option, but it's an option. But then maybe they could, return and then work things out with his management. Who knows? Anything can happen. This transfer season, anything really just can happen. But what does Victor Osimhen himself want? That is my own question.
I mean, there's been a lot of back and forth on this matter.
Yeah.
Analysts have analyzed, writers have written, speculators have speculated. Everybody's doing a lot of things, and Osimhen himself is just chilling, enjoying himself, going around. He's supposed to have resumed.
I think it is attached to.
Some clubs have, in fact, not some clubs. Most clubs have resumed pre-season, except those who have extra days off for holidays and all that. Well, people are starting. Tactics are being discussed for next season. I mean, if you are moving to a club, now it's probably time, and I think his mind is made up on going to Gala. Whatever differences they still have, talking about Napoli and Galatasaray, hopefully it gets done quickly, sorted, and we can see Osimhen again. Good news is that they've qualified for the UEFA Champions League, even though they are still going to be at the qualification stage. Hopefully they can make it past those stages and make it into the big league, where we all are going to be watching and we'll be seeing what happens. But hey, many persons are actually hoping that Victor Osimhen is going to be playing the Premier League for the coming next season. But it looks like that deal is almost off. Well, that will be all for us talking about the front page analysis this morning. We'll be back for that segment next week, God willing. But very quickly move on to what went down yesterday. I know if they have asked you, yes, you watching, to give the prediction for the scoreline between Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea yesterday at the Club World Cup finals in the United States, 98% of you will not have said that Chelsea will win 3-0, including Anyton, including myself. I'm sure. I mean, but look at what panned out yesterday. Enzo Maresca matched Paris Saint-Germain tactic for tactic. Absolutely. And they didn't score 1 goal, they didn't score 2, they scored 3, and it was a merciless defeat for Paris Saint-Germain. The man was even almost fighting at the end, himself and his boys, talking about their manager now.
Yeah, Enrique. Yeah, it was, the shocker of the tournament. The fact that, it had to be Chelsea. You understand? This is the Chelsea side that were, struggling.
Just 1 goal.
Exactly, and they were, they were struggling, to really hit the form that we knew or we know Chelsea to, to that level that we know Chelsea to have, to get to, that they have been. They've really struggled to get to that level. However, there've been some sort of consistency with the fact that they kept up with the top 4. You understand? And then they've been able to, to find their way to win games, which is quite important. You understand? That's like the major thing. Just win games. That's like the major thing. And then, over time, you get to, to trash others. You understand? Especially when it comes to the big teams. However, I can't recall if I said this here last time, and I said, regardless of the fact that, I am anti-Chelsea, I said that I would not write them off. And I've been saying it, that I was not going to write them off. Why? Because it's a final. You don't just write, people off. Yeah, we understand the fact that PSG dispatched Inter Milan in the Champions League final. They dispatched Real Madrid in the semi-final.
Many other teams however, Real Madrid now.
Yeah, what?
Many other teams were there before Real Madrid semi-final.
Yeah, no, but the last stomping was Real Madrid.
Was not a final. It was a semi-final.
I said the semi-final.
The last stomping you gave it.
Hold on. Okay. Beating Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think they beat Tottenham. They beat Arsenal, and then they beat what's it called now?
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa. Yeah, not Tottenham. Aston Villa. They beat Inter Milan in the final, and then and then they beat Real Madrid in the semi-final of the Club World Cup. Mercilessly too. So personally, I felt it wasn't going to be easy for them, to just come and then trash Chelsea, because everybody was expecting 6-0. Yes, they were expecting a mauling, serious one. And regardless of the fact that I don't like Chelsea, by the way, my older brother is Chelsea.
Wow.
And 2 of them, and I really don't care. You understand this? That's the game. If they lose, I banter them. That's how it is. You understand? But I knew that we were going to see something special, extra from Chelsea, and it had to come from the ice cold Palmer. Regardless of the fact.
But
Thank you.
Was cold.
Thank you. I was going to say that because regardless of the fact that the weather wasn't friendly, but ice cold Palmer brought the ice from the north and destroyed PSG. And then the most beautiful aspect in this is the fact that what's his name now? João Pedro scored that brilliant
one opportunity
finish.
One lift over Donnarumma. You know how big Donnarumma is?
You understand? And the fact that, Palmer beat Donnarumma twice, the same angle, the same,
in PlayStation, they call it
R2. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was just brilliant. And it just goes to show you that nobody has monopoly of trashing anybody. Anybody can give you, and you can collect anytime too. So it's just brilliant. However, we will not just hear what. But congratulations to Chelsea.
I think they did deserve it.
Yes,
their players were right on the spot, doing what they needed to do. Somehow they were able to take the fire of Vitinha and put it into the Red Sea.
Exactly.
They took Ousmane Dembele Ballon d'Or candidate and all the noise. I mean, our producer on this show, we were just talking about that game earlier this morning, and he said Ousmane Dembele was running off at halftime, as if, like, we'll be back
with fire.
And we didn't know Baba was not coming back with anything. Eventually, he has to be substituted.
Yeah.
Look at all of them. Mendes was the one that even committed the first mistake that led to Chelsea goal.
Yeah.
And then Hakimi, with all his Hakimism, nothing for him yesterday. Donnarumma, big, tall, huge. I think it's about 6'6" or so. That's really.
So I think
tall.
Cole Palmer has just exposed how you can beat
The commentator said it didn't necessarily have to be a shot.
Yes.
You know, he just knew where he wanted to go, and the ball was just going.
Pretty brilliant. Twice, and he did it twice.
To show it was not a mistake.
It wasn't.
Quick analysis of the World Cup, of the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, a money-spinning league. Ooh. Just a couple of games and crazy money. Chelsea is going to be getting about 120 million. The finalists are also going to be getting about 110 or something like that.
Yeah.
Real Madrid for getting to the semi-finals, I think 85 or 85. I mean, money spinning. And that money came from DAZN that dropped 1 billion to FIFA, and then Saudi backed it up. And of course, you know, look at that money spinning league. Some persons have said, hey, the health of the players, Guardiola has said the health of the players will be affected, and some of them will probably not know until November, December. Is there a possibility of us having extra injuries this year? And also, let's talk about the money.
Oh, yes. I think there's a possibility of these clubs, you know, that participated in the, what's it called now, the Club World Cup, to have extra injuries. However, if they're going to cancel their pre-season, which is impossible, it's just impossible. Yes, you must plan for the new season. So there would be a possibility, because there will be less time to rest for these players. Remember that, don't forget that the league starts in August. You understand? So there will be less time for them to rest, and then they have to go back again, you know, in the season. And then I think by the time we get to mid-season, then we'll start hearing that complaint again that, oh, they have to play this, there's no resting time. Recall that I think it was the last season. I can't recall what competition or what happened that they had to, you know, stretch the players, and all of a sudden
we had lots of ACLs.
Yes, lots of ACL injuries, and then here and there these injuries, and that was how Manchester City lost Rodri for almost the entire season, and they could say that was why they lost the league to Liverpool, regardless of the fact that, you know, they could, you know, have that argument. We can't rule out the fact that these players do not rest enough would bring about, you know, more injuries. However, injury or not, they cashed out. Yeah. This team cashed out. I think it was last week we were talking about the fact that Chelsea, you know, made a whooping 80 million, you know, 80 to 85 million, and who knew that they were going to become the first ever team to win the maiden event, you know, Club World Cup competition. You understand? It doesn't look like they are going to stop. FIFA is going to stop. It doesn't look like it's going to end. It's not going to be a one-off thing, because that money is too much for it to be a one-off thing. Personally, I would want Manchester United to qualify for this kind of events. Why? Because you need money to, you know, to clear debt on the and books. Hopefully maybe Glazers will, because those, let me not say anything. But you need money to clear debt. Now look at Chelsea. They spent I think around 70 to 80 million in transfer, or maybe a little more than that. You know, where would that money come from? They can just, you know, channel that money to that, and then still be able to buy some more players. So it's cool cash, but I hope that the team or the competition, the beautiful game of football, doesn't suffer at the expense of more cool cash. All right, moving on very quickly now, we'll be talking about the performance of the Super Falcons so far there in Morocco. 3 clean sheets, 4 goals. But Michel Lazovic was talking after the win against Tunisia and said, see, we didn't come here to win 1-0 against Tunisia. We came here for convincing football. We came here to win, and win really well. But somehow, many of the girls have been played out of position. Toni Payne has been played on the right. Rasheedat Ajibade is not playing when she's supposed to play. What's her name now? The new girl, Misola Babajide, has had a good time in the first game, got taken off in the second game, came on the third game. After Asisat Oshoala was substituted in the second game, she went down the tunnel, really angry. You know, the whole team so far is not giving us that 2023 vibe at the World Cup and at the Olympics last year. Yeah. They just look like they're looking a little ordinary. Yeah, a little ordinary, you could say. I really don't understand what the coach is trying to do. You know, playing players out of position. Is he trying to stamp his authority in the team and say, "Oh, I have the final say, regardless of your name, regardless of who you are, I have the final say. Whatever I decide, you do." I want to hope that it is not that, but you can't help but, you know, think about things like this. You understand? Bearing in mind that the trophy is at stake, so you don't want to, you know, have too many disgruntled players trying to form a unified team, because at the end of the day, it's about a team. It's not about individuals, but then individual brilliance can still, you know, help the team. You understand? Look at the PSG, for example. Regardless of the fact that Dembele was their main guy, he played as a team, especially in the final of the Champions League. You saw what he did in the Champions League final. You understand? So it's at the end of the day, we want to know what the coach is doing. Like I said earlier, the end justified the means, but then the end could actually be now against Zambia, and we don't want that. You understand? So maybe we just need to ask the coach what he's trying to do, and let's hope that it works for him, because we cannot have this caliber of players and then not score more goals. At this stage, I think we should be going for goals, because goals will get you the victory. You understand? Because the fact, I mentioned it earlier. We scored 3 goals in the first game, 1 goal in the second game, and no goals in the third game. Hopefully, we don't get to concede against Zambia.
Being honest, though, the Tunisians played a very defensive game.
Oh yes.
Same as our last game yesterday against Algeria. They came prepared to play defensive football. We had almost all the possession.
And hoping to get that 1 goal.
And we're looking for 1 goal like we did against Tunisia. But, coming up against Zambia, it's going to be a very tactical game.
Yeah.
This is a game, nobody's trying to get points. It's a win or bust game. And then we are playing against the most lethal attack so far in this competition. Barbara Banda and our strike partner, very dangerous, those ladies. Nobody has actually tested them as much as I think Nigeria will test them. But, when the ball comes forward, we may just be in for it.
Yes, we may just, just be in for it. And then I read a comment from the coach of the Super Falcons before coming into the city, and he was saying that they know the tactics of Zambia. They know what they can do. Personally, I don't. If you say something, you should do it. You understand? Because at the end of the day, you are going to rule, whatever it is that you have said, you are going to, it's your words by yourself. So I want to hope that and believe that there is an actual plan, and this plan is going to work against the plans of the Zambians. So let's trust the coach. He's brought them, this far to the quarterfinals. Let's hope that we're able to get them to the finals. You understand? So good luck. That's all we can say. Good luck to you.
Hopefully when we play on Friday, we're going to have things go our way, because, if we don't, we are going back home. Remember, it was Zambia that made us lose the 3rd place game the last time around. We lost to Zambia.
So
they got their bronze. So there's a score to settle. Very quickly move on to tennis this weekend. Wimbledon finals. Let's talk about the women very quickly on Saturday. Iga Swiatek defeated Amanda 6-0, 6-0. Of course, Amanda burst into tears in that one. That was the first time since, I think, about 50 years plus now that, it was a very one-sided final. 6-0, 6-0. In less than 1 hour, boom, everything was over. Congratulations to Iga winning another. That was her 6th Grand Slam title. She had won 4.
I think that's her first Wimbledon.
First Wimbledon, but at 6 she had won 4 Roland Garros titles. She's the queen of clay. She had won 1 Australian Open, and then this time around she had gotten her hands on the first Wimbledon.
Perfect. This is a perfect time to win it, because if you have opportunities like this, you need to take your opportunity.
You secretly knock them, chap.
No, and then
because if you was one of the big girls, it probably wouldn't have been that easy. It was Coco, it was Arina Zabalenka. It might
not have been that easy.
She saw Amanda,
but then
beat them.
But then that's what you expect.
6-0.
You understand what you expect. Like you said, it was one-sided. So
one-sided.
Exactly.
Two one-sided.
So now you don't want to stress and sweat against an opponent that, we're not ridiculing the opponent.
No doubt.
Because she made herself her way to the final.
Of course.
Big ups.
Defeating Arina Zabalenka in the semi-finals.
If you can do it in the space of 30 minutes, do it. Do it, because you don't know what could happen. You could pick up an injury, and then
my goodness,
tables could turn.
Takes you back to Jannik Sinner, was on his way out, was already losing, and to Dimitrov, and before we could say Jack Robinson, injury crept up. The man made it round, past the quarterfinals, got into the semi-finals against Novak Djokovic, dispatched the man, got into the finals, lost the first set to Carlos Alcaraz, and won 3 sets and became Wimbledon champion. Remember, they had one very interesting Roland Garros final where he was leading. Just 5 weeks ago, and where he lost. Interestingly, lost to Carlos Alcaraz, and his management said they have to work on him mentally, because there was a way we probably have felt, oh my goodness, how did I lose a game that I was very comfortable in? And then yesterday, he lost the first set again. And some persons were thinking, oh my God, it's going
another defeat.
Another defeat.
I think that would have been the 6th or 5th.
And then he came
straight
on
defeat against Alcaraz.
Yeah, and he came on strong. Remember that Alcaraz is the champion. If he had won yesterday, it would have been back to back to back. He had won the last 2. Well, one in 2024, one in 2023 Wimbledon. And I think it's a good one for the Italian. Great one for tennis as well. However, smiling on with a little over $4 million. You know, I like talking about the money. It's very sacrosanct.
Oh, yeah.
You know, equal pay now. So Iga goes on with 4 million. Sinner goes on with 4 million. They had the winners dance yesterday.
Oh, yes.
An interesting one for them.
Pretty interesting.
For the finals, though, it was £20,000 for the cheapest seat. Tennis is becoming. I don't think.
No. Tennis is not your ordinary. It's not your regular. I can stroll into the court to go and watch. You know,
20K.
Right
the
from time.
The cheapest seat at Wimbledon finals yesterday was 20K.
Yeah,
20
it's for people that can afford it. You understand?
Goodness,
and you know, aside from the money, you know, the victory was not without this, you know, controversies. The fact that a certain Kyrgios was talking about the fact that these two that won, you know, the men and the women's, you know, edition or singles tournament, they had, you know, controversies and they lost doping issues and the fact that they failed some tests. You know, right before coming,
she was on
winning,
you know.
But then, you know.
All right. Well, congratulations to the winners, Iga Swiatek, for winning her 6th and 6th Grand Slam and her 1st Wimbledon title. Congratulations as well to Yannick Sinner, an Italian, 1st Italian to win the Wimbledon title. The US Open is in a couple of weeks, the last Grand Slam for the year. Let's see what happens again, especially in female tennis where, you know, the thing is not settled. It's topsy-turvy, it goes up and down like a swing. Let's see which of the girls will most likely come out tops. But for the men, you know, it's either, well, we're not sure, we're not good, but it's likely going to be one of Sinner or Alcaraz or at the very least, Novak Djokovic. But we do not know, like I said earlier. Really thank you for being a part of this production. This outstanding Monday. Join us same time next week, God willing, for another beautiful episode. On behalf of Anytone Ramola, myself, Shegonda, and the rest of the crew, let's have a fantastic week. Stay out of trouble. Bye for now.